Hello, I'm Baumer here with Sky. Sadly, Shane was not able to make it. Today we're going to cover some of the basic arts and lighting. So, first I want to talk about how much work we've been doing on the overworld, because since most of the game I imagine is going to be spent looking at a brilliant overworld with absolutely fabulous music, I figured we'd be go over the facts of, some of the stuff we're doing. Recently I've been building castle walls that look fantabulous, and I've also been working on forest trees, deep dark forest and all.
As well as mountains?
Yes, and
Talk a little
mountains,
bit about
large rocks. And, besides the overworld, though, we are also working on things like metal tiles, which get this wonderful, wonderful gleam of sunlight off of them. And yes, what about our newest things, Guy?
Alright, so we've added an entirely new town, and alongside Baumer, who's making the basic tiles for most of what's going on here, I've been putting in lighting, and to do so, I needed, of course, a torch, or a fire, or lantern. So that's really Baumer's department. He's working on the tiles and icons to get that all worked out. But what lighting essentially does is it creates a small area, or even a large area, in some cases, around the player, fire, light, source, whatever you want to call it, that would basically brighten up in dark situations, making everything a little bit brighter. So it helps you to see at night, or in dark buildings, or in some cases caves might be a little bit dark. We're not thinking about doing it on all caves, but on some caves. And alongside this, we have a day and night system now. So days can pass, and in that, crops will grow, and villagers and not players, but people in towns will actually do different things on different days and act differently at night and day. People will show up at different times of day. And all in all, it's pretty good, actually, in my opinion. I don't think there's been any real glitches with it. Anything you want to say about making the tiles of torches and all that?
Well, originally I thought it was going to be quite easy. A stick with a red ember at the end of it. But no, our programmer insisted that I make it in animation, which literally triples the amount of work I have to do, because I have to make frames of it now that changes the way it looks. But overall, it's definitely going to give it much more of an HD pack look.
Yes, I'm sorry for making it be so much work for you. Okay, but seriously, can you just give me an example here of how much work you, don't go step by step, because that would take way too long, I know. But seriously, how much work do you have to go through to make a simple torch? Because I don't think people actually understand just the, one picture, how long that takes, or how much work that takes.
Well, because of the small pixel ratio I have to use, creating something that resembles, a torch is a lot harder than if I were to use something large like 600 by 600 pixels, which, in that case, making a realistic torch would be easy. But no, I have to, make each little square blend perfectly as to make it look as if it's a angled stick rather than, this choppy zigzag line. And animating the flames, making realistic flames, is one of the hardest parts of game making.
Are you sure about that? Because
it's actually been recorded that it is flames and water.
Well, I think they mean physics-wise, right? Do they mean
all
graphics? All around, wow, okay.
Yeah, because of the see-throughness of it. Getting it to be see-through and everything in the right spot is hard. And then with water, making the waves actually bend the background. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it's going to be worth it, because now you'll be playing an HD game.
Our graphics might not be HD. Well, they will be, but I think that the thing is that most people think that if it's not 3D, then it's not good. And I have complete contrary to this. If anyone has played any of the original Final Fantasy games, you know what I'm talking about. Or even some of the original Zeldas that were in 2D and actually had 16-bit graphics, I believe. were still
Really?
great games, and I could play them for hours on end without getting bored. Our game, what would you say, 32-bit?
Our game is definitely 32-bit. I can guarantee that one.
as the graphic person in our group, or you? I guess you are the graphic designer, aren't you?
Yes, yes, I am.
Yeah. I think of Shane as the designer, but actually you're the one who takes the image and puts it into the computer, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he's the sketch designer. I am the graphics designer.
You seem very proud of your title. Nothing wrong with that at all. But yeah, definitely. I work hand in hand with the graphic designer here to make sure that we have all of everything on this new map to be just right. And part of that is, like I was talking about earlier, villagers and things in the town interacting with the character. And that has been a lot of work. But we so far have a beginning of a mini-map. It doesn't have any, like, good colors on it or anything yet, but we're working on that part. But what you have to understand is I think that a lot of people underestimate what goes into a game. And because of that, at first glance, our game doesn't look like much. But if you realize that how long have we spent on this? We've spent at least a month now.
Oh gosh, yes. And it's not like we just work a few hours in the day and then relax.
No.
It's like we relax for half an hour of the day and then work the rest.
And yeah, the thing is that on the weekends we'll either meet up at a local coffee shop or we'll just jump on Skype first thing in the morning, and we're working literally all day. We're not taking hour-long breaks in between at all. And whenever we get home from school, there are occasional days that we will say, you know what, I need a day off. But those are extremely rare.
Yes.
And that's like if the day before we did so much work that it was insane amount of progress. And you realize something, this is the third town we've done, and the first two are still being worked on. The first two aren't even done, and that's partially my fault, I'll admit. The first town could be done right now. The only problem is I'm devoting a lot of work to the second and third, and the only thing that really has to happen to the first one is I have to put in a few more people and populate it a bit more so it doesn't look so deserted, you know? But to think about, we put in a decent month's work, and I'm not going to say we have nothing to show for it. No, we have... I calculated that I literally have over 1.5 million lines of script in just the first, I think, 25 scripts.
Nice.
So, if you guys don't know what a line of script looks like, it's pretty much like, have you ever tried to write up a paragraph essay for school or for work or whatever? Yeah, one line of writing is about one line of script. And if you ever thought that writing a 3-page whatever was hard, try writing 1.5 million lines of script. Yeah, it's not English. It's like computer language.
And on top of that, I have done over 2,000 images for this.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all.
And let's see, 32 times 32 is... I'm not a mathematician.
I have no idea. It took me like an hour to get my calculations right because my calculator kept dying on me. I'll be honest.
1,024 times 2,000. That is a number I don't know how to pronounce.
Can you just say it?
2048000.
2084?
2048.
Oh, 48, my bad. 48.
That's how many pixels I've done.
Oh, jeez. And you guys need to realize something. When he's drawing up pixels, it's not like, you know, maybe when you're drawing a manga picture, or if you're painting a picture, how it's just like a sweep of the brush does like thousands of pixels. No, he has to go in pixel by pixel and make sure that that one's just slightly different than the last one so that they blend together. And honestly, a great philosophy for our game, in my opinion, is when you're looking at it, look at it with the understanding that we put hours upon days, upon weeks, upon months. Not years, yet. I'm thinking this might go for a while, because we're trying to make it as great as we can make it, you know. We have a great storyline, which we can't explain here, because it would ruin so much. It would spoil so much, and we have a great storyline going for it. But we put so much into it that one of two things can be said about it when you're looking at it. Could you do any better yourself? And if you say yes to that, then respectfully understand that this is our first game. We've got a lot of room for improvement. We realize that, and we're trying to actually learn that improvement now and put it into the game. We're not going to say, whatever, it's good enough. I don't think we've ever said, whatever, it's good enough, except for one time I said, just leave that, and then I told you to come back to it later.
Yeah, the next day we spent the entire day working and took no breaks.
The picture that you currently are looking at is our just a rough draft of our, like, what would you call it? I don't want to call it an icon because that has totally...
Our logo, almost?
Yeah, a game logo, not a company logo, but yeah, a game logo that we're working on, and that's just a rough draft. Now, realize that day that we spent at the coffee shop a while ago, like about a week ago, we spent a day at a coffee shop, and Baumer was working on that for at least, we were there from 12 to about 9 or 10, and he was working on that for a good 5 hours, and that's just the rough draft. So that's not even going to be the final. That's basically like, he took concept ideas, put it to use on that, and then...
We made them electronically concepted.
Pretty much, yeah. And so he's still got a long ways to go before that's going to be done. But yeah, that's going to be the logo for this game. If you ever see that on a shirt or anything, you'll know where it came from then, which would be really cool. Also, we're open to complete support from audiences.
Anybody.
Literally anybody. We're not going to exclude anybody from this. I mean, the only thing we won't let you guys do is give us, like, ideas for the storyline, the main storyline, because we pretty much have that already done.
Unless your idea is perfect.
Well, they're gonna think their idea is perfect.
Unless we think your idea is perfect.
There we go, yes. Anyhow, not really much else to say, but before we start wrapping this up, I have 2 things to just get out of here really fast before I can't remember them, because I kind of struggle with remembering things for some reason. Haven't had coffee in a while, I guess. Whenever you guys are talking to a character in this game, if you're talking to a villager, or even if it's as small as like a little boy running through the town, or they've already seen the first quest. Can we discuss that with them?
Sure. Do keep in mind time limitations.
Oh, I know. We're only at 12 minutes, right?
Yeah, 13.
Well, 13 now, yeah. Alright, the little boy and the father that we talked to and did that quest with in the I think it was the second episode of really inside look of this that we ever put up there, on YouTube. Just those 2 people were around 7,000, I can't get the exact number for you guys right now, but it was around 7,000 lines of script each. That's, honestly, each 1,000 line of script, I can get a lot of work done when I want to, but when I need to let them have like their own personality and have their own feel to the game, make them be a believable character that you want to help, it's a lot of work. It's not like, I'm going to type up this basic sentence and get this out here. To have them speak, to have you be able to choose what you want to say and what you want to do, have the items be given out to you and whatnot, it takes a lot of work. I have to tell it which weapon ID I want, and where I want it, and what not to do, and make sure that it gives out proper responses so that you don't end up going up to an NPC saying, "You suck and I hate you," and it says, "Oh, thank you." Because that would make no sense, It literally takes hours of my time on each character, and now realize that in just our newest town, there's going to be at least 3 to probably up to 10 characters in and out of buildings at a time, and a total of around 50 to 65 we're looking at so far, if I've done my math correctly, villagers in total for the entire town, or area around that town. Now, if you realize that's a small town, that's not even a capital city. There's 2 capital cities. That's a lot of characters, and that's a lot of my time, and not only my time, but that's a lot of Baumer's time as well, because he's not...
make the people.
Yeah, he's not scripting them, but guess what? He has to make them, and make what their face art looks like. He's got to make sure the 2 match up properly. Well, I'm going to let you explain this a little bit, if you don't mind, because you know it better than I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know this process a lot better than I do. If you want to just take it away and
So,
talk about that for a bit.
making actual people, because that would require a lot of work. Granted, it is the same amount of pixels, but blending those pixels perfectly is a little much. So, I use this wonderful program that allows me to completely make original characters, but without all the hassle of pixels and all those little tiny demons of squares. Uh, and make realistic characters with them that look great. No problem at all.
I will honestly say, looking at his art, it looks amazing. Like, the characters are very, very believable. I think the only character art in the entire game that he didn't do was the splash screen you saw where it said, "I'm not the blind Eidolon," with all the characters, full body characters standing up. That I did, but honestly, his stuff in-game, I will argue, look better. Look better for our graphics. Sure, they don't look that sort of anime-ish, but they look great. Alright, well, I think we just about covered everything we currently have to talk about. I mean, if Shane was here, we could probably talk about concept art and whatnot, but...
We'll leave that to him.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that to him, because, to be quite honest, we all kind of stick to our own departments.
Especially with negative 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. We can extend time if we need to. But, yeah, anything you want to say to just wrap this up really fast?
Nothing I can think of. I think that covers all of it.
So, before we go, I'd like to just say, please make sure to leave a comment down below. Tell us what we should talk about next time, or what we need to show you guys, what you guys want to see, because we're totally open to those sort of suggestions. Or tell us if you have any ideas for the game. We totally would accept that as well. And if you could, we still need subscribers and viewers. I don't want to sound like I'm begging, but I kind of am.
Yeah, I was about to say, we do need them.
We really would appreciate it a lot if you would go up and click the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything. It's not going to affect you in any negative way. I mean, why wouldn't you want to come back and hang out with us again on here? And who knows? We might be doing some live shows next time we go down to our local coffee shop, because we're considering bringing... Because, Baumer, you have a laptop, right?
Yes, I have a laptop that is,
It's slow and all, but it would work.
Yeah, and sometimes it likes to forget that I saved files.
Yeah, that too, but we don't want to get too far into that.
Yeah.
But what we're getting at is we might be doing a live show, and you wouldn't want to miss that, believe me, because we'd most likely be doing the live show on maybe our 15 to a half hour break. So, I mean, what can be more entertaining than 3 game makers that are on coffee, willing to answer any questions you guys might have? I mean, I know that I made that sound a lot more fun than it's gonna probably be, but heck, we would love to just, do a live show, hang out with you guys, talk to you guys. We'd feel free to answer any questions you guys might have. If you guys have left a comment and we didn't answer it, or for whatever reason, we'll definitely answer those at a live show, or definitely just leave a comment if we see it enough. Well, if we see it once, we'll answer it, but I mean, if we didn't answer it for any reason, just drop another comment and we'll definitely get around to it. That's just about it. Please make sure to like us and to recommend us to friends. Get word out. We'd really, really appreciate that. And when this game, we're not gonna do this just yet, and I think it's about time we tell them what our plan is, because we need to start getting this out. When this game becomes a lot more popular than it is right now, you guys will still be our original fans, and we will make sure to do something for you guys, I swear. But when we get a lot more popular, to make sure that this game is as best as it can be, we're going to be doing a Kickstarter campaign to just try to earn a little bit of money that we currently don't have. I'll admit, I mean, would you feel embarrassed if I was to say that we don't exactly have a lot of money?
I'm under the poverty level, so...
Yeah. It's not going to affect... Like, our lack of money is not going to affect how the game comes out. We are still putting our all into it. You've seen the graphics. They've improved since then, believe me. They've improved tenfold since then. But Wow, we're at 20 minutes. We really got to wrap this up. I'm rambling on way too long. But all I want to say is, if we made a Kickstarter campaign and it fails, the game might not be half as good as it could be. So that's why we're going to hold out on that until we have a lot of fans and a lot of viewers like your guys, like yourselves. But we could never get anywhere without your help. In a way, we've almost hired you to help us, to make sure that this game is popular and gets out and whatnot, because we know there are people that made a ton of Game Maker games. Why is this one any, or not Game Maker games, my apologies, just like community page games, or yeah, even Game Maker games. This is not a Game Maker game, by the way. We're using a completely different engine to make this game.
Mm-hmm.
But I know there's a lot of games out there that people have just made for the community. But we want ours to be different. We want ours to be remembered. And I know that sounds like, what are 3 teenagers going to do to make theirs any better? Well, trying to get out there. We've already, believe it or not, been talking with, I don't want to give away too much of who we're talking to and who we're planning to talk to, because that might actually get us into some dilemmas with people.
We're talking to someone important. That's
we're talking
all
to
you
important.
need to know.
All I'm going to say is we're talking to important people, and we're talking about talking to important people, because we want to make sure that if we get popular, that you guys are right there beside us as our viewers and as our fans. We're not going to end up being the people that are like, oh, we don't need fans, you know what I mean? No, we're going to totally be there with you guys. And if we were to go give speeches at a con, we will have you guys right up there with us, saying what you loved about the game and asking any questions that you might want to ask, and getting to meet us, because we're no more human than you are, you know what I mean? Any little last thing you want to say before we go, because I've been rambling for way too long, and I think we need to wrap this up.
Yes, actually. Goodbye.
Oh, good idea. Okay. Goodbye.